Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And I just got one thing to say about this episode. He's back. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. My name is Christian Basil. Whether if you're listening to us on iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, everything, but Apple Podcast, all the podcasts are out there. I want to thank you for joining us. And if you're watching us here on the StreamYard Live, thank you for joining us here at the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Again, my name is Christian Basil. And if you've just woken up to the news that just came out this morning, I hope you are. I'm just letting you know he's back. And I've got a bunch of friends who are going to be talking about his arrival back here. That's right. Christopher Eccleston is going to be playing the Ninth Doctor, but not what you think there. He is going to be doing what everybody has been begging for since the last 15 years that he appeared as the Ninth Doctor. He's going to be doing it on Big Finish audio, and a lot of us have a lot to say about what's going on. But first, let me introduce everybody in the team here. First of all, my good friend Cookie Dough Modeling, better known as Victoria Padilla. She's a little muted. I'll try to unmute her. There we go.
Padilla, really?
Padilla? How do you pronounce that?
It's Padilla.
Padilla?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You've been friends for how long?
I know, but you know what? I can't even get my name right. So I'm sorry. Padilla. Tell us a little bit about Cookie Dough Modeling.
Oh God. I've been a cosplay model since about 2012. Huge in the Doctor Who fandom. My mom got me into it, and I've been cosplaying Doctor Who for a while. I go to Gallifrey every year, and it's just something I love to do. And I've made a career out of it.
And there's actually, if you go to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS Facebook page, there is actually a few of my friends get their own cosplay sites and own individual albums, and Cookie Dough Victoria Padilla actually has her own album, so you can check her out there. My other friend, for those of you watching on the StreamYard, I brought in Matthew Kressel. Matthew, welcome to the team there. And how's everything going with you, sir?
Thank you very much. Very excited by today's little announcement, which was, I actually woke up to the news and rolled over, picked up my phone, checked my email, and it was about 7th item down. And I may have made a noise that only small
7th item
hear.
Down? What? How is that the 7th item down?
Because Yahoo apparently is not as good as getting rid of spam in my inbox as they say they are.
Oh, good grief there. Speaking of spam, because I'm a bad seguer, so there's Dr. Freedom right there in the corner. Brian Burress, you can check him up on the YouTube channel. Look up Dr. Freedom. Please subscribe anytime the news drops just like this. He was already on top of this, talking about Christopher Eccleston becoming the Ninth Doctor for Big Finish. Please check him out on the YouTube channel. How you doing there, Brian?
I'm doing so well after hearing today's news. To put it cleanly, there's parts of me that are still applauding.
You said there were parts of you doing something else. That's what we can't talk about it here there. And I've got my good friend Dave from the rathole.ca. How you doing there, Dave? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back, Christian. Things are here great. I got my little...
Yeah. Oh, good grief. I love it.
From Team TARDIS, which I will be reviewing on Tuesday on my website.
Oh, my God. I love it. Good grief there. I love it there. Last but definitely never least, the lovely, the talented, the wonderful, the artiste, Melanie Dean. A piece of yeah, keep it going there. How you doing there, Melanie? Welcome there.
I am doing absolutely fantastic. Sorry, I'm
I know.
so freaking excited about. I'm vibrating. I'm like Dr. Freedom. I just so many adjectives and words and prepositional
talk about
phrases.
the cosplay you're wearing right now. We can see a little 9 coming up on the screen.
It's my ninth Doctor cosplay. This is as much as you're getting because I'm not going to jump up and down and go further away. But yeah, this is my trusty ninth Doctor cosplay. The second you said, "Hey, let's do a radio show today," since holy,
I know, because
Christopher Eccleston get back to Big Finish. Turn on the stuff, put in the contacts. I know people. I'm not wearing my glasses. Freaking Christian out apparently.
Well, I think Matthew put it best there. It was kind of like, hey, you know what? There's news today, politics, more the Trump. There's a COVID-19. There's things going down here in Florida. They're opening up the schools. Oh, by the way, Christopher Eccleston is going to be doing Big Finish. I'm like,
God, look, it's just 2020 keeps going in the ways that we've never ever imagined. Finally, we get one good thing.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm going to open this question up to everybody. What were you doing at the moment? And the funny part about it is, and if anybody wants to address this, I had to look like 500 or 600 times. It was not like believable. I could not accept that this was happening at this moment. So if anybody wants to start off with the moment that this got announced, what were you doing and what were you thinking at the time that happened? Who wants to take it first?
I'll go. Yeah, what happened was I had just got done running through a few friends of mine's, reaction channels. And then suddenly, boom, I get a notification up from Yahoo. Big Finish production channel has just put something up. So I'm like, okay, I'll go take a look. It's probably their latest thing. I click on it. It comes up and it says the Doctor Who theme starts playing. Big Finish presents. And then it says Christopher Eccleston. I was like that for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then suddenly I got to go to Twitter. No way. Wait, I'm on the wrong channel. Exactly. I'm on the right channel. And then I click over and boom, it's hitting Twitter at that moment. It's literally like a brush fire going across Twitter like that fast. And I'm like, oh me shnikes, this is real. Oh, kind of like that for like 10 minutes after that.
Gotcha. And we've got a lot of people going in the chats there. So definitely, if you want to chat about the Ninth Doctor coming back, or the titles that somebody wrote was the Ninth Doctor returning to Big Finish. I'm like, he never even got into Big Finish. And so some of the titles were a little bit skewed, but there were one because I think they were trying to say he's returning to Doctor Who, but he's going to Big Finish. And for those of you just joining us, please, if you come up at we're doing the live chats as we normally do, so please, and we've got a lot of chats going on here, but I know Victoria, I know that you've got some things to do beforehand, so I want to get your take on this. What was going on and what were you thinking at the time that this was announced down there?
I was just waking up because I don't sleep, so I was waking up around I would say about 2.
That about you.
It has already been going. So I had to fact check it about 5 different websites just to make sure, because you never forget your first Doctor.
Right.
So I fact checked it, looked on Twitter, had to check a couple of the websites, and I was like, you know what? Then I get the message from y'all going hey, this just happened, and I'm like, okay, it's real. And I mentally screamed and verbally screamed, and I scared my roommate's dog.
I think the correct term that Matthew had put when I saw it was squee.
Yes.
He squeed out over there. Speaking of squeeing, folks, we're going to be bringing in your chats there. Let me go ahead and get to those chats just a moment. We're going to start by saying hello to Sadako24 off the YouTube channel. Michaela Jabe, Arthur Michaela Jabe. We want to say hi to them. J.R. Hibbard, one of our 4th Doctor cosplayers, the premiere for the Traveling TARDIS. We love him. Yes, definitely love him. Good evening, my favorite Whovians. Love you all. Of course, they were going to say hi to Graham Krause. And James Fetty, that I don't know what that means there. Carl Witzman, glad to hear that Christopher overcame his aversion to returning to a role. See, here's the thing. I don't think he had an aversion with the role. He didn't have an aversion with Doctor Who. He had an aversion with the leadership at BBC. But yeah, that question does come up weirdly because people have been asking, well, if you don't have an issue with the role, Why didn't you just go into Big Finish right after everything was done and keep the Whovians happy? Because if I remember correctly, Christopher was doing a lot of stuff that you would catch on the YouTube videos occasionally, and he was doing stuff for Whovians. I think he did a what was it, for wedding proposal or something? He just and he was going to a restaurant and he was acting like the Ninth Doctor. So it's not that he didn't love the role or the Whovians. He just didn't like. I could understand the sour taste that he got in his mouth if my bosses were giving me a hard time doing my job. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, he had said in interviews before when he had been asked about reprising roles like he had played on Heroes, for example, and his response to that also in coming back to Doctor Who was that he, generally speaking, once he played a role, he was done with it. So once the storyline was over, he had no interest in coming back to it. It's the same reason he didn't come back to the G.I. Joe sequel as well, because he was in Rise of Cobra, I think it was. So he had said that.
Well, that's another story for another show that I don't want to explain.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
God. Well, I just wanted to add also that when he was doing the stage play and all that, he was still signing autographs for fans if they showed up, as he was getting ready for curtain call. Sometimes he would even be late showing up to the play because he would stay that much longer to make sure everybody got his autograph. So he still loved the fans. He had no problem with that at all.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we want to say goodbye to Victoria. She's got to go, but thank you for joining us. Thanks for the input there, Victoria. Everybody check out Cookie Dough Cosplay on the Facebook.
It's modeling now.
It's modeling now?
Yes, I had to rechange and rebrand for some reasons.
Gotcha. Is that also on the Instagram as well?
Yes. It's on Instagram. I don't know if it's changed over yet on Facebook, but you should still be able to find it.
Okay. Thank you, Victoria, for joining us there. And everybody check out. Oh.
No, that's the wrong person leaving.
We lost somebody else there, but it's okay. Vicky, you have a good time there. Take care of yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Stay safe out there. All righty, team. And we've got, let's see if we got more chats over here. Hold on a second.
We'll always have more chats.
Alexandra Morley, she says, fantastic. We want to say hello to Yudis Pagan. She says, hell hath frozen over. That's exactly what I said.
Yes.
Hell hath frozen over.
That was what happened.
When I saw that, and Melanie, when I posted it on my Facebook page, when I shared it off the Traveling TARDIS, I think two of my friends go, no, this is a spoof. This is a lie. This is wrong. And then all of a sudden they corrected themselves. I'm just like, yeah, believe me, when I post this stuff, I really check, and especially like an announcement like that, I'm checking that out. I'm not going to leave that to task there. So yeah, hell have frozen over, Miss Pagan, of course. There, she says, just finishing a podcast with Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Okay, congratulations, thank you, Lady Gallifrey. Want to say hello to her, Gina Perez, the lovely wife of Brian. Graham says has been so much other rumors floating around, was hard to accept. Yeah. Especially 15 years later, why would you want to come back after you basically said, nope, we're done with this? Congratulations.
When I saw the one for Big Finish that they playing the music, his intro, Christopher Eccleston, Doctor Who, coming soon. I'm like, okay, we know it's accurate. That was that's the horse's mouth.
Yeah. If I hadn't had an email from Big Finish sitting in my inbox first thing I woke up this afternoon, I would have been fact checking it everywhere I could have. But having that email directly from Big Finish, it was just kind of like, hell hath frozen over.
Hey, Christian.
Yeah.
We need to go to commercial. What you see me moving our stuff around is that my keyboard decided to not work, so I'm actively trying to put a keyboard together. So by the way, commercial. Chat to you.
We got you. We got to pay the bills, folks. We're on a hard break. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend. We're going to continue our discussion with this wonderful news. Christopher Eccleston now returning to the role of the Ninth Doctor in Doctor Who in Big Finish. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to become part of the legend.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today. Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
Unleashing hunters into the ruined wastes.
one young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic Starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal
Wonder and adventure
in the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
Well, it's been 15 years since we've seen this man say those famous words that started off a series and started off the reboot that we know of today, Doctor Who. And we want to thank... Oh, wow, love that. For those of you who are on the radio show or listening on your audio, Melanie's got a nice little picture. Tell us a little bit about that. Describe what you see there for our folks on the radio.
For the people on the radio, what happened is we came back from commercial, and I went and on commercial break, I ran over and grabbed the framed photo across the way, because this is my husband's. I got him for Christmas, and it's Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. It's his headshot from Doctor Who, so it's one of the staged photos where you can see what's one of the professional headshots as the Doctor, and he's always signed it Christopher Eccleston, and then the Doctor with an exclamation point right over here on the side. So that was what I was holding up, so people who are watching can see it. Yeah, this was Kevin's Christmas present, I think this past year or the year before. I mean, my brain's not working. It wasn't the year before. It's sitting there next to the one of Dan Starkey as Drax.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome back, folks, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. This is Christian Basil right here. I've got Matthew Cressell from Comcast Cerberus, located in Huntsville, Alabama. Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Burress. I've got the lovely and talented pieces of a Melee. I can never say it again. Melee. Melanie Dean, director of our show. What's that?
Keep going. Say hi, Dave. Dave's here.
And Dave at therathole.ca. Check them all out there. Please subscribe to their channels, their Instagram, Comcast Cerberus, definitely. What? Who are you pointing to?
Brian.
Yeah, didn't I mention Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, he already mentioned me. He can mention me.
Someone was too busy wondering how Christian was going to pronounce Melee today.
Brian runs Dr. Freedom, the YouTube channel. Please subscribe over there. We are talking about the announcement today about this man. Oh my God, that is spooky. I'm never going to put that picture back up again. It was just basically Christopher Eccleston in red. Christopher Eccleston and his announcement of becoming the 9th Doctor for Big Finish Audios. We are all excited. We want to congratulate Nick Briggs and the wonderful team at at the Big Finish Productions. We can't wait to hear the first audios. My God, that's going to be great there. And nothing against Nicholas Briggs. I think he was the one doing the audios for the 9th Doctor, but it's nice to actually hear the man himself actually do the audios. So, Dave, I got a question for you. Let me start off with this question. What kind of episodes do you think the Doctor going on into technically his second season. What kind of stories do you think should be laid out for him as he goes on his next adventure?
The thing with it being Big Finish is it can be anything.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, oh, it should be this, because there's no way to know. They go everywhere. But I mean, there is the big multi-doctor thing, multi-platform, multi-everything doctor thing going on, that there's just enough time he might be able to get in on.
I know, and that's the one exciting thing. I was like, right when I heard Christopher was going to be the doctor again, I'm thinking like, okay, we've gotten all these multi-doctors. We've had the light at the end. We've had all these episodes come up, and I said, why can't Chris just fall into place? And not only that, but we're already excited about David Tennant and Tom Baker having an episode to themselves. So why not? And I'm hoping that maybe they'll recruit Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, and we could have some really bizarre, like a whole series of the reboot Doctors together, like an Eccleston, a David Tennant, a Matt Smith, and a Capaldi series, an episode together. I think that would be awesome. So I have a question for you, Matt. Most of the time, he's had Rose as the companion. How are they going to make a companion fit in? Because it was him most of the time, with the exception of Adam and Captain Jack Harkness.
Right.
And then he finally regenerates. How do you think he's going to get another companion? And if they do, how are they going to work that person in?
It's entirely possible. I mean, they already did it during the 50th anniversary. For those who remember the Penguin short stories that came out, now available, I think it's the 13 Doctors, 13 Stories set. But with the 9th Doctor story in there, they actually had him picking up a temporary companion for the length of a story and setting that in between events, kind of towards the end of Rose. There's the moment where she turns down traveling with him. He gets in the TARDIS and then comes back and says, did I mention it can travel in time? So you could fit in you could fit in who knows how many adventures right there. Also, when you were talking about Nick Briggs a second ago as the voice of the 9th Doctor, when they did that 9th Doctor Chronicles set a couple of years ago now, which I highly recommend, it's an immensely enjoyable set of stories. But the first episode of that is set pre-Rose as well. So there's ways you could do it. As Dave was saying, Big Finish bounces around people's timelines willy-nilly in terms of where stories are set. So there's at least 2 different places that come to mind where you could do it. And for that matter, as we've seen with the 6th Doctor and the 7th Doctor, even the 5th Doctor for that matter, if there's a way that they can fit in a companion alongside an existing TV one, they'll do it too. So the sky is the limit as far as I think Big Finish is concerned at the moment.
Yeah. And folks, we're going to get back to your chats right away there. J.R. Hibbert, our friend out there, it popped up on my Google News feed this afternoon. And as soon as I logged into Facebook, it was everywhere. I couldn't be more excited. I think we all squeed. Yeah. So the WHOniverse, at some point, we all squeed at once. So I can't imagine. It took, like I said, I had to research it. I think tell me if I'm wrong. All of you probably had to look back and go, okay, this is not a fanfic. This is actually coming from Big Finish. We really got this video, and not somebody just didn't put this out there, put a Big Finish moniker, and just made up something that is going to be like a fan idea or something like that. How many of you had that impression?
There was a hint of something coming because there had been an embargoed press release that dropped a couple of days ago. And that had been the talk of Twitter, especially, having recently joined there back in April. I noticed there was a whole lot of chatter going on about an embargoed press release that was picked up by the Radio Times, The Guardian over in the UK, and several other places. And the big assumption was it was something related to Doctor Who. And the speculation was, is somebody leaving? Is somebody coming back? But I don't think anybody that I saw anyways reasonably predicted that it was going to be Christopher Eccleston will do Big Finish. I also noted after the fact, I don't know if anybody has realized today is the 9th of August, because I was sitting there wondering, why did they announce this on a Sunday? But it makes perfect sense. They decided they were going to announce 9 was back on the 9th.
Oh, it didn't even register. That's just that. Okay, gotcha. Well, let me address some of the chats that just came in. Carl Witzman says, I recall Christopher saying that he would never repeat any role that he played. Yeah, we went over that just a while back. And I'm just curious how Nick and the team.
Is that him? okay.
Isn't there a storm down there? Didn't someone say?
He's trapped in a time eddy.
It's the 5 doctors, and he gets to be the 4th doctor. He's trapped in that time eddy where he's pushing the
or
the
it's the 3 doctors, and he just became William Hartnell.
That's awesome. But no, the way I had found out about what was going on was honestly, it was our little Facebook chat that we have. And it was Dr. Frieden and Christian going back and forth. And I just was just like, wait, what? Because I was over my mom's house. My mom just bought a house, and I literally had just finished putting in putting in posts and putting the concrete in for a fence. So I was just run in, get some Gatorade, look at the phone real quick, and go, oh, I've got a couple notifications. Oh, my phone is just vibrating now. What the hell is going on in the world? And just seeing Doctor Who. So at first I was like, but when it was those 2 mentioning it, more so you, Brian, that's when I'm like, oh, it's real. Oh, really? Oh my goodness. So at that point I'm like, okay, I got to keep working. So I had to turn off my phone basically. But yeah, when I came back on and I saw Big Finish with that going on, it's like, oh, that's amazing. I can't believe that he did come back. Do you guys think that it's because maybe at first Eccleston didn't really do anything Who, period. He would talk in his theater projects. He would talk about I think he was in the A Word, but he wouldn't really talk about Doctor Who. But then suddenly he started doing fan conventions. Do you think that correlates or got him back into the idea of coming back into Who?
I think most definitely. I mean, who wouldn't? You see all the fans. Most fan interactions at these things are pretty positive. Just kind of as a blanket. I've talked to guests at these events that have gone, wow, I never realized X thing. Sean Wallace never used to do conventions, and then he started and he went, I had no idea it was going to be like this.
I almost wonder that it also kind of creates a little bit of a safe space in that maybe it takes away the bureaucracy of him having to work with the BBC, with the producers, and all the other fun stuff that was the resounding reason why he left the whole Doctor Who project. And then just kind of going back and just seeing the fans and just seeing all this other kind of stuff. Does anyone know if he had gone to do any conventions while there were any of the other doctors that had worked with Big Finish? Like maybe if Colin Baker got in his ear or Sylvester McCoy got into his ear?
I seem to vaguely recall some photos that were doing the rounds from one of the events in London where I know he met Matt Smith, but I feel like that there were some photos, there were some photos of him meeting Peter and Colin as well. And it was sort of people were just not kind of in a photo op or anything, but just kind of wandering, kind of getting from table to table and then just kind of bumping into each other. So that may well have been the case. But we also know, if we reading over the press release that Big Finish put out alongside this, Jason Hay-Ellery, who, owns Big Finish, mentioned that him and Eccleston had started up conversations at Gallifrey. So it may have been a place of he simply got asked this question enough, and then he runs into the guy running it, and then it's kind of like, things go from there. Because that appears to be what happened with Eric Roberts as well, coming back to play the Master now in various audios, was that he was sort of aware of it, but nobody thought about approaching him until, him and Jason were in the same place at the same time.
That's one thing that a good point that you bring up is how many times, like, when it comes to going to conventions and that the actor or the talent gets asked the same questions, or even then it's like it's one question and then the next time they go to a place it's the same question. It's enough to become the same questions. So it makes me wonder if Eccleston had started getting are you thinking about going to Big Finish? Are you thinking about going to Big Finish? Because I know that became almost in the mind of everybody that I know. That question was there. I'm like, oh, I wish he goes to Big Finish. And that maybe he got asked it enough times where, as to your point, that somebody was in, they were right in the right place at the right time. Let's have that conversation because the seeds are growing in both people's heads. Oh my God, we just got joined by somebody.
Just almost in time for commercial.
I know. And it's almost
and I think he's gone.
And he's frozen.
As he's frozen. Great.
And he's gone.
He's the only one that's got the power of the commercial because he's got the login. Christian.
Can we do it? We've all been on this show enough. Can we just verbatim do the ad?
I know, right? Oh my god. Okay, everyone. Which books are we doing for Hanging With today?
I'm the Christmas hunk.
You be the Christmas hunk. Janie's special Christmas wish.
Yeah.
And
Scion of Conquered Earth, available now at Amazon.com.
So
the Bait Man. Remember the Bait Man?
Oh, Bait Man. Oh, that's goodness. It's sad. It's like I when we start putting our commercials, I've got to the point where I was watching a lot of them, and then I start doing my quick, I need to go get this guy off the wall, or plug in my plug in the keyboard again. But let's see. I'm trying to. Okay, since now I'm hosting. Thanks, Christian.
The joys of live radio.
Right. But when it comes to where's this going to fit? I agree that with Matt that it's that Big Finish always is very timey-wimey, and they'll go to stick this wherever they want to. But I do agree with that section where he says, to Rose, did you know that it also travels through time? That's where we're gonna see more, more. That's like where you're gonna put stuff. Dave, what's your thoughts on where they could put some Big Finish stories in this?
It depends on if they can get Rose back. I mean, Billie Piper's done stuff with Big Finish, right? Mm-hmm. So if she comes back as well, they don't have to put it anywhere. They don't have to shoehorn it in. It's just more adventures of the two of them in the middle of everything.
Since we just got John Barrowman coming in as basically the Sixth Doctor, which is something that, oh my Lord, if you have not listened to those anytime soon, you have to. There's Brian's Christopher Eccleston photo. I love that.
Yeah, a friend of mine, went to when he was at that, I can't remember which play it was, but he was literally less than 15 minutes till curtain call. And he said, everybody hang on a second. He goes into the building. Now everybody thought, okay, he's going to go do the play. We're going to have to wait. Not even a minute later, he comes walking back out, and he was literally late going in to the play because he stood there major. And this is one of the ones he signed that time, was this one.
Oh, wow.
A friend of mine got me. Yeah, it was in London. A friend of mine got me that.
Yeah, because a lot of times the actors won't sign things unless it's like the playbill for that play. So that's.
And he didn't charge anyone a dime. He did it on his own time. He did it for free, and he enjoyed doing it. That's one thing my friend said. He was having the time of his life listening to fans and all that. And I think one of the things that did make him decide was, when he got exposed and saw just how much all these fans love him in that character, I think that's what finally swayed him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a companion you would love to see him interact with? Because going back to John Barrowman just being with the Sixth Doctor or being with Joe Jones, Joe Grant, is there anybody that you kind of hope that maybe Big Finish would kind of toss them together? I know personally it would be me, and I would love to see him and Donna just sassing each other, constantly shouting at one another. That. I don't think it would get really high ratings because I know a lot of people don't like Shouty Donna, but they would be with Shouty 9. So I think just
that would be
does anybody have Matt? Do you have anyone that in particular? We'll kind of go around.
Yeah,
your companion.
The Brigadier. It's the biggest gap that's there of classic Who characters who never got the chance to appear in modern Who, and it's the Brigadier. And they've got John Coleshaw in. He's been doing amazing work over in the Third Doctor Adventures range, and he popped up for a wonderful cameo in Legacy of Time, I think it was, that came out last year. For people who haven't heard that, episode 3 of it, The Sacrifice of Joe Grant, give it a listen. It's one of the best things Big Finish has done in recent memory. But yeah, if we're talking about anybody from Classic Who in particular who needs to meet the Ninth Doctor, it's the Brigadier.
That would be amazing. How about you, Brian?
Yeah. I can see him with just about anybody. Matter of fact, I'd even like to see him with Liz Shaw, because in the Third Doctor Adventures, they have Caroline John's daughter now doing her voice, and she did a very impressive job. I'd love to see him, banter back and forth with like Liz Shaw, from the Third Doctor era, because we got to see so little of her on the television, and they brought her back kind of a little bit in Big Finish and gave her a little bit more of a role. They developed her even a little bit more in like Companion Chronicles and things like that. So I'd love just to see, her and the Ninth Doctor kind of bounce off each other. Oh, look who's back again.
Christian, Go to commercial and take your Ethernet cord and plug it into the ass end of your computer. Do that now.
I'm sure they've been talking about me. My ears were burning while the Wi-Fi was crashing. When we return, we'll continue our talk with Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, with or without me. Thank you for joining us. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and you know the rest. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Claudia Christian with some exciting updates in the Sinclair Method world. First of all, we launched our new coaching page. It's yoursinclairmethod.com, so you can go there and book a session with one of our fabulous coaches. You can also reach that page by visiting c3foundation.org. It's at the top of the landing page of the website. The second piece of news is Journeys is out. Woohoo! This book has been a long time in the making, and it is available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and there's a limited amount of signed copies at c3foundation.org. So get your copy of Journeys now and visit the coaching page for some wonderful support. If you're on the Sinclair Method, you can book a session with a variety of different coaches. Take care and be well.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
Now on Amazon.com, iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Hi, I'm Christian Basil, and I'm so excited about today's episode. My Wi-Fi decided to drop out completely, so I have no idea what happened in the last segment, but I want to introduce you to all my friends here. Here's Matthew Corsell from Comcast Dervis, Dr. Freedom on the YouTube channel, Brian Burress. I've got Melanie Dean Pieces of Melee, and we got Dave in the brathole.ca for all your gaming needs. Welcome back, folks, and welcome me back. Hey, I wasn't expecting that to happen, but it just happened that way there. We're continuing our discussion, since I didn't even hear about 1/4 of the show as of yet.
So the question that we were just having, and that I'm going to go ahead and toss to you, Christian, is with Nines coming back and in the vein of companions.
Okay. If
there was a companion that he could have anybody in our Doctor Who world, what would you just be like? Just shut up and take my money. If the Big Finish audio came out.
Okay.
That's all
I have brought up Donna Noble because it would be them just shouting at one another.
Does it have to be?
And I'll live for that. Matt had brought up the Brigadier.
Does it have to be a previous companion, or can we make up our own?
Oh, anyone.
I've always wanted to have a companion. He would be actually the perfect Doctor, where a companion started off good and ended up bad. Like, all the Doctors have had an influence on the companion. Like Turlough and Adric, they kind of were wonky because Adric was kind of being the rebellious, for the better term, the rebellious teen, and Turlough was out to kill the Doctor. But what if the influence, and always the companion became a better person, and out of the Doctor's experience? Or what if the reverse happened, where they saw the Doctor stuff and said, no, I don't like this, and you're a bad person. I'm going to turn against you. I would think the Ninth Doctor would take issue, especially somebody who came out of the Time War, dealing with those issues there. So I always thought, here's the thing, and a friend of mine, I can't think of her name, who plays the Weeping Angels. It's not Elena. It's It's one of the girls who played the premier Weeping Angel, and I'm going to kick myself for not knowing this. But I always thought it'd be cool if a Weeping Angel disguised herself as human and tried to kill the Doctor that way. Because the Weeping Angels have tried all this time to try to kill the Doctor and have been unsuccessful. What if they made an attempt to convert one of their Weeping Angels to human to try to kill the Doctor and take him out that way? In the same way that the Daleks were testing out their thing, and Daleks take Manhattan to try to become the human Dalek hybrid to try to take over the universe, because they didn't have that element of human that seems to gel with the Doctor. But that's my take on it. I know we have a lot of chats since I disappeared there. Melanie, we're just going to go to the chats. Alexandria just said bye to me. I don't know. Somebody just flat out said bye.
That was cookie dough modeling. That's how far back you are.
Oh my goodness. This says him, not her, the Titanic. Yeah, I would actually love to see episodes. Remember when Clive had brought up all those pictures and stuff like that? I would like to see those episodes where he was on the Titanic, when he was at Krakatoa, and how those things had affected the Ninth Doctor before he met up with Rose there. Randy Stewart says, whoops, yeah, thanks a lot there. The Weeping Angels have taken Christian, sure. Yeah, they've done there. Someone has taken on him on Discord, might work.
No, that's more technology.
We want to say hello to Susan McFarlane. She said, would love to see Nine, Rose, and Jack together. Lovely TARDIS team. Yeah, what do you think?
If you want to go back to read any of the Titan comics, they did come back and gave you a lot more Team TARDIS with those three. And they're phenomenal.
Gotcha. And my regeneration failed. Thank you so much. Mary Barker, welcome to the show. Did some stories with companions after he regenerates into Nine, but before he meets Rose? Yeah, well, I think we were talking about that. Some of the stories, the Titanic, Krakatoa, JFK assassination there. Eula says, also, I'm sure that Nick was able to ensure Eccleston would be able to have some control of the Doctor's betrayal and destiny. See, I have no problem with Nick taking on the storylines and bringing in the Ninth. He just does an incredible job with the stories, with all the Doctors, even including Eight, who did not have a series himself. Mm-hmm. But if it wasn't for Big Finish, he would not have a series. He's only had 2 episodes, The Enemy Within and The Night of the Doctor, which is kind of like, a 15, 20-minute episode, really? But without Big Finish, he wouldn't have been fleshed out as much out there. They did fantastic work with Colin. Yes. Big Finish, yes, they did their Sacrifice of Joe Grant is fantastic. Gotcha. We'll check that out if we get there. Did I turn the power off? No. I will be totally honest. When you hear a thunder go bam, we're in Florida, Melanie and I. We know, if you know the storms, they just come up and go, oh, did you want to go online? Bam. Nope, not this weekend. Sorry.
And we had a storm last night. I want to say it was around 3:00 in the morning, where it just woke me up. It was one of those nice tropical storm ones where it's the water's hitting the side of the glass and lightning. You're like, again. And you just look at the time, like, it'll be over in 20 minutes. It's fine. Back to sleep.
Gotcha there. Graham wants to know if I'm an Auton, if this is not really me and I've just been switched out with an Auton. Yes. That's it. That's all I'm going to give you. That's the answer out there. Yeah. Well, we're back at welcome to everybody here to Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and here's my team. And we're talking about Christopher Eccleston. And how about this for the team? And if anybody wants to start off this way, is there a Doctor that the Ninth Doctor has to confront, has to meet out there? Which Doctor would it be there? I see a number with Melanie.
3.
She says 3.
Only because I loved him so much, and I think his portrayal of the Third Doctor is spot on. So I want to see more of the Third and more of 9. So there's 2 Doctors that we didn't think we were going to have like so much extra stuff of.
Yeah, I would love him to see him with Capaldi's Doctor.
Oh,
that'd be fun.
That would be a fun run, because you could see more of Capaldi, and I'm talking about Capaldi in the later half when he's kind of calmed down, and you could see a conflict between 9. He's post-war Doctor. He's done the Time War and everything, and kind of like 12, kind of reminding him that there is a forgiveness in him. That we know you did the Time War, we know we did everything, but we learned to accept that. And the question I've always asked, especially when it came to the Time War Doctor, when did the Ninth Doctor decide, I'm going to be the Doctor again. Because he rejected the name. I'm trying to find where the needle is where he says, I'm going to pick up this moniker again after the regeneration. And he forgot all about Day of the Doctor. So at what point where do you just say, you know what, I'm just going to pick this back up again?
I've always assumed it was after he regenerated from War to 9 and just kind of decided that having thought he had destroyed Gallifrey and done all this, he decides I can't be that person anymore. I am going to be the Doctor again.
See, now I want that story. The
Yes.
moment that he said, I'm going to pick up the mantle again, I've regenerated. That would be a great story to see, when he decided that was it. And I actually, when it came to the stories in Rose, where he was when he was seeing the Titanic, he was seeing JFK, he was seeing Krakatoa. When I saw those, I thought, this was my interpretation of it, and anybody wants to jump in. He saw the worst tragedy of his entire existence, and he lost his fellow Time Lords to it. So when he started looking at all these other disasters, maybe he was trying to get a handle on the moment, that he could not accept what happened. So he was looking through time for other disasters. In fact, one point where he saves that family off the Titanic, which I think would become the precursor of what happened in the fires of Pompeii, when Don is saying, say one family. He already had done it. He didn't think it was right, I guess, then, but he did it anyway. So,
yeah, Big Finish did that one, has done the Titanic already as one of their short trips, a wonderful story called Battle Scars that Nick actually read, which I highly recommend. Which seems, if that one's not post-regeneration, I don't know what it is because of the way it starts, and I don't want to give any spoilers for that. But I think I know there's a Krakatoa story short trip that's coming out later this year. The JFK one is the one I'm most interested in. Being a conspiracy, somebody with an interest in conspiracy theories and whatnot. It's the one big event Doctor Who has never really touched, and the fact that they put his Doctor there, I think could make some really interesting storytelling.
Red Dwarf did a good job about it. So
yes,
yeah.
And that would be funny if those guys ever met up out there. Back to the chats on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Randy Stewart, the scarf scientist lady, I miss her. Mistress supposedly killed her. Oh, that's
Osgood.
Osgood. But it could be the episode where the Doctor and Rose are stuck in different TV series was actually a teleport.
Yeah, when she was, it was the same. Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you there. And Randy continues, she would make an awesome companion there. Graham, a group of stories that just start after the regeneration, where 9 isn't even 9 yet. That's what we're just talking about there. And the journey to recover enough to be man we meet in the first episode can be completely new companions. So there could be that buffer before he meets Rose, and where he's finding his way back to becoming the Doctor at that moment. So I think that would be a great story to go around looking to say, hey, you know what? When does he pick up that moniker, and who has he met in between to pick up that the Doctor again? There, Dave, what'd you have?
I think it wouldn't be a bad thing is if he met up with 8. So you've got just before War Doctor. And immediately after War Doctor, just kind of see what, he can see what he was before that.
Yeah.
Before that.
That's actually really,
What if 8, War, and 9 got together and had a little discussion?
I still like that, because we have so many War Doctor stories, which is great, but I think it's too close to bring another actor in to portray her.
Yeah.
John I just want to say John Hurt is a very, very difficult act to follow.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But my suggestion was let's have him meet 7.
Yes.
Because maybe in a way it was 7 tricking Davros and destroying Skaro that led to the events that built to the Time War. And then have him going off against him about basically possibly it was his fault that what happened after. And it would be a nice clash between 9 and 7.
Right. Gotcha. More on the chats. We want to welcome Lori S. Jansen. Hi, Lori. She says, a story I'd like is one which explains his constant complaints about human apes and rows. There's a sense betrayal there, like a human had indeed turned traitor in his past. So you think that the Doctor is suffering from another different type of PTSD just from the Time War, but maybe something else? Like a companion that's gone rogue that I mentioned?
Yeah, that would be... if you're going to do that kind of storytelling, that would be the way to do it.
Gotcha there. Yudiska says he did right as he was regenerating. Michael Rubinson, we welcome to the show. The Doctor, no, that's okay. Susan McFarlane, wonder if some of the stories will be part of the Time Lord Victorious arc. That is a very good question.
I don't know, because I think that the whole Time Lord of Victorious arc's already been set and they're just doing releases now, but now it almost seems like this is going to go into pre-production.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I mean, they could just have been keeping this one, capped. The good thing is, I think another kind of big thing you can't really overlook is COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of actors and everybody aren't working in traditional means. So this could have been something that the tracks have been greased. The tracks have been greased. And now we're like, no, now we can keep going, because all you have to do is just record your stuff at your home studio, and then we have our lines. It's Big Finish can keep cranking out stuff when traditional acting work really isn't there. So I almost wonder if it's just our little perfect storm is getting us Big Finish 9 episodes. One good thing. Thank you, Jesus.
Continues, how painful would it be for Nine to face the very different, more optimistic man he used to be? Which would be nice to be the third Doctor or the fourth Doctor, or even the fifth Doctor, who's just loving life, everything, the honest and caring Doctor. Or he could meet the sixth persona and go completely mental. But speaking of mental, I have no segue on this one. We're going back to commercial break. When we return, we're going to wrap up this little discussion about the Ninth Doctor returning to being Christopher Eccleston returning to be the Ninth Doctor for Big Finish Audio. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to become part of the legend. Melanie, stop that. That's not going to... No!
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomicher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend. And folks, you've seen a lot of our friends out here who are sponsors of the show. We believe in them. They believe in us. Thank you for joining us at the Legend, the Traveling TARDIS. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to us on the Facebook page, facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS. We've got a lot of friends out there, a lot of Whovians who are watching this video right now, and a lot of friends who have joined us in our further adventures as we continue on, as we move into our 9th and 10th year of the Traveling TARDIS, since we started way back when in 2012 in May. Also, if you want to become part of the legend as far as sponsorship, advertise with us, you just email Sage or myself at hangingwithshow.com. Again, that's hanging spelled HANGIN with WITH show.com. Believe me, we're getting a lot more people watching our shows. And if you want to get your name out there, you want to get your sponsorship, please go ahead and help us out, because we'd like to help you out as well there. We're wrapping up our Oh. We're wrapping up our discussion here of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, talking about the most exciting news we wanted to hear. Within 15 years, Christopher Eccleston taking back on the mantle of the Ninth Doctor in Big Finish Audios in Doctor Who there. And let me see Little Boy Blue. It's been a while. I'm having withdrawals. There he is. Little Boy Blue there. Now, wait a minute. Dave, what were you holding up earlier? What was that?
Doctor Who Flux.
Doctor Who Flux. Oh, okay.
I want to play.
Now, for the audience who may not be familiar, just give us a brief synopsis of Doctor Who Flux.
Flux is a game where there is no goal until someone plays a goal. So you are playing, you get your cards, you play cards, and you may end up, you're changing the rules. So you start with draw one, play one, and by the end you could be drawing 5, playing 3, and every time you sneeze, you have to stand on your head. No, there's no card that ridiculous, but
that's okay.
Maybe you have to play a card. So if you didn't play a card, or if you played a card that made you lose, that's actually quite common. It's it takes take that to a whole new level.
Gotcha. Brian, I just had a question because you've been keeping up with the news. Graham Krause is asking, I heard that 9 is part of Victorious in a comic in Doctor Who magazine. Is that correct? Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Do we know anything about how 9 is involved with Time Lord Victorious, or is that still kind of just...
We know he's going to be in at least one of the books. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
My fault. Sorry.
No, that's all right. So he's going to be in one of the books. Do you think maybe they haven't been pushing out too much about the Time Lord Victorious because they kind of knew this was in the works and they were hoping this might drop?
Maybe I I'm like, oh no, he got.
Like Melanie said, Victorious has been in the works for quite a while, so
right. But I would think this is the game changer. I mean, for me, this would be
very.
The thing is, and I always hate to have to bring this stupid little word up, it's called COVID. And COVID did a lot of things, not just for work, but also for marketing plans and marketing strategy.
True.
Yeah. It really did. Everybody usually what you do when you have for now in August, September is when you're planning for your next year's marketing plan. And you have it broken down like think of a big Excel spreadsheet. I know this is going to get really fun sounding. You have it all your months, you have them by quarters, and then you have them then you actually have your months out. So you know Q1, Q2, Q3, what you're trying to drop. So for Time Lord Victorious, this is something that's going across not just the Doctor Who brand, but now you also have who has all the different licenses. So you have Big Finish, you have Titan, you have, oh good God, the TV show if you want, magazines, books, you have all these different venues that have on your marketing plan what was supposed to be dropping. So on their marketing plan for BBC, it's not just Time Lord Victorious. Time Lord Victorious was probably its own little quarter section. Mm-hmm. Now that probably got pushed forward. It might have been pushed back on some things because people were probably thinking, okay, my deadline's here. Yeah, we could turn that around in 3 months. COVID. Pfft. Other people are like, well,
gotcha.
6 months to do. Oh, it's already done. Oh, we can release it now. So on one hand, you can almost think, did this coinciding with Time Lord Victorious, maybe it's been in the works for a while. Mm-hmm. Maybe it hasn't been. But with Big Finish, it almost seems like they can kind of turn something around a little faster. So maybe something dropped out and couldn't maybe make it. And now this can quickly get in and keep that brand going, and so it's, it's speculation, and that's why we have podcasts.
Gotcha. Well, folks, we're coming into the last few minutes of our show. If anybody wants to throw in the last minute chat, if some of you want to stay for the after party broadcast right after the show, we can address more chats if you'd like out there. But I want to thank my guest, Matthew Kressel, Concast Cerberus. Please keep an eye out. If you're watching this live, please keep an eye out on the Concast Cerberus site. I know they have some news coming up this coming Monday, which will be tomorrow, August 10th. And check out that information. I know it's going to be important information, so make sure that you are subscribed to the Concast Cerberus site, especially if you've been going to the conventions. There's going to be important news coming out over there. Matthew, did you have any final words on that?
I don't have anything I can say except to tell people to tune in and watch. Bonnie herself will be making the announcements tomorrow.
Gotcha there. Also, check out Dave at therathole.ca. Check out my friend, the lovely Pieces of Melly. Melly. Melanie Dean on the Instagram, as well as her art that she does. Yeah, no, she can't take me anywhere. Also, check out Brian Burress, Dr. Freedom himself on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends, because we can't do this without you. Anybody have any last-minute thoughts before we put an end to this episode for tonight?
Read the comment from Susan McFarland, because I keep looking at that and going, that needs to make it to the show.
Which one is it? This one?
That's the one.
I did that earlier. How painful would it be for Nine to face the very different, more optimistic man he used to be? And I think that is just a series in itself, to go back in time and see what you were and now what you become as you get older. What was it? There was a quote from the movie Nixon. I know this is a very weird analogy, but was it Anthony Hopkins? And he's standing in a room with the picture of JFK.
Yes.
And you remember that, right?
Yep.
He's standing in the room, and I thought it was the best line that I've seen in a movie ever mentioned, but it hit home that moment. He goes, they look at you and they see who they want to be. They look at me and they see who they really are.
And I thought hate me for it.
And they hate me. Yeah, exactly there. So I've always thought that moment when he looks back at his life going like, they see the doctor. But when I see, but when they see me, they see the real doctor, I think. But if anybody wants a last minute mention on this, go for it.
No, when I saw Susan's comment, I was in my mind translating it to what if you saw 9 with another 9? So he's playing 2 different points. Characters, because when we see him jump up in with Rose, I mean, he hasn't seen his face, because he flicks his ears. He's like, oh, well, that's different. Da, 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 da. But he is very much more optimistic, kind of happy-go-lucky, a little bit, kind of fun, bouncy, a little bit. We'll just say sassy as hell. But that it doesn't seem like that came right after what we saw with John Hurt turning into the Ninth Doctor, him just flipping his head back and going, okay, well, I hope it's okay. Maybe something happened there between, not necessarily maybe a sideways regeneration, but just maybe he had like an epiphany. And if that's the case, maybe we do have this is a more optimistic 9. And right after John Hurt, and he jumped out of his TARDIS, and he had maybe a companion that was why he thinks they're all apes. Maybe not so optimistic. That'd be kind of a fun role for Eccleston to put 2 different hats on.
Gotcha.
I mean, let's not forget that there used to be 2 different Ninth Doctors before Eccleston came around, for that matter. Rowan Atkinson and Richard E. Grant. And I don't think Big Finish would ever get Rowan Atkinson, but I would pay good money for Richard E. Grant, for Christopher Eccleston and Richard E. Grant in an audio together. I don't know how likely it is to happen, especially since we've got Eccleston on board. I never thought that would happen, but that would be something to hear.
I can take my money. Yep.
Oh, well, folks, we're out of time there. Folks, thank you for joining us there. And please continue to stay logged on, tune in. For those of you who are still watching and want to stay with the after party, if you have additional questions, please stick around. But we want to thank you for joining us again. Again, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and always become part of the legend. Bye for now. And now we're at the after party, just like that.
I am no longer messaging Christian for commercial breaks.
Especially if Christian doesn't exist.
Okay.
Especially if he's after that.
Did you turn it off and turn it back on again?
Oh yeah, or Susan says
Peter Cushing. Yes.
Yeah,
Cushing.
Somehow work him into the story there.
Yes.
If you just
now remember, there was supposed to be a thing in Day of the Doctor where they found out that apparently the Cushing movies had actually happened, but as a result of someone had obviously leaked the information to the movie company. Now imagine the Ninth Doctor lands right in the middle of the movie production of like Doctor and the Daleks.
Oh,
that's not what happened. Because you're gonna have Star Wars.
That would be a great.
Well, you'd have Star Wars people
that would be-
reinventing Peter Cushing to do that episode. I mean, that's kind of a scary thought.
But that would be great.
But,
well, they could get Guy Henry, who played Tarkin in Rogue One, because he did the voice as well. So they could get him in to do it. The problem with the Cushing movies is that they're owned that the rights are owned by somebody else. I think it's Studio Canal, I think, is the ones who own them. So it's an entirely separate licensing agreement from what would be involved with the BBC. So, but they've done some deals with Studio Canal. I think Studio Canal owns the Steed and Miss Peel Avengers, for example. So if there's anybody who's going to do it, it's going to be Big Finish.
Yeah, that's why the scene never appeared in Day of the Doctor. It was rights issues. So, but you never know. That's what I love about Big Finish. The sky is the limit. And now with Eccleston stepping in, there's so many more doors just opened. It boggles the mind. It's like,
there you go.
I just have that feeling that we're going to hear the original Team TARDIS of Eccleston. We're going to hear Piper, and we'll hear Harkness, Barrowman. So I have because if their schedules align so they can be all in one of them, that would be freaking great. I'm so excited.
What if instead of like 12 and 1, what if a 9 and 1? Ooh. Where 9 is just post-war, and he's looking at 1 and going, "You know what you're going to do? Do you really know what you're going to be doing?" Because 12. By the time he gets to 12, he's come to terms with what has gone on. But 9 being post-war Doctor, or after the Time War, and looks back at his first self and going like, "I'm going on an adventure," and goes, "No."
I almost pitched a very similar idea when Big Finish was doing their short trips opportunity, because there's a weird moment in one of the Ninth Doctor Chronicles where it's suggested that 9 spent 22 years in England at one point because of the shenanigans in one of the stories to catch up to meet Rose, and during that period he would have been there for World War I, and we know the First Doctor and Susan landed in the middle of the Great Zeppelin raid on London in 1915. So I had the idea of the two of them and Susan all meeting up in the middle of everything.
Right.
It's not the story I pitched, and I'm sure now that I've said it in a public place, somebody else is going to pitch it and run with it. But that would be a fun story to do still, I think. Yeah. I rest my case.
1915 is when that happened? Okay.
Great. On paper, I'm doing it digitally. I win.
Curse these analog things.
Welcome to the 21st century, lady.
Your 1200 baud modem just failed you. Here we go. JR was asking the link to Comcast Cerberus. Yeah, it's basically ComcastCerberus.com, but JR also provided you the link to Comcast Cerberus on Facebook as well, their group thing. And Susan goes on, "I have a soft spot for 2, so would like to see that pairing."
That would be neat. Well, I mean, okay, now I'm just wishful thinking because I know how many. Well, they're doing all the animations with 2, but that's because they're using source audio.
Yeah.
So if you do an animation, you could toss 9, and I'm like, no, wait, that's not working.
But Fraser Hines does 2 already, so I mean, it would just be those 2 working together at it.
That could be fun.
That could be interesting.
They just have a mixed nuts. And remember when they had like 3 Doctors, 5 Doctors, and the 2 Doctors, it was 6 and 2. Just completely mixed nuts. I've always said there should be a story between 7 and 2. Because they were the operatives. They were the mysterious doctors. Mm-hmm. And those 2 got together. They were also the shortest doctors, but I don't know why that came to be. But it's those 2.
That's a great title for it. The shortest doctors.
The shortest doctors.
I'm trying to imagine what 9 and 4 would interact like. I just don't even see it. I'm trying to.
I saw it as a cartoon years ago, and 4 offers 9 a jelly and goes, "Jelly baby," and 9 just looks at him and goes, "What did you say to me?"
Oh God, that would be interesting. Well, I mean, 9 is just just tragic all around. I mean, he's picking up the pieces.
He's not. He's
PTSD.
almost as manic. He's more manic than 10, if you really think about it, because there's many times where 9 is just dancing around and just happy-go-lucky and just being just sassy. But then he'll put on that hard facade real quick and just be
right.
nails.
Well, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
it was David Tennant's. Here was the interesting thing. It was David Tennant's doctor at the beginning, at the Christmas invasion. At the end of the episode, goes, "No second chances. I'm that sort of man." But I always thought that was 9. I thought he was no second chances guy. He just basically said if he didn't like something, he would, he would stop it. To me, and I think that bled into 10. But I thought 9 was more of the no nonsense guy. To me.
I don't know if he was no nonsense, because I always just think of like when he gets on top of the bomb with and it just yells, everybody lives, with the nanogenes coming out. Just this once, Rose, so that everybody, just how maniacally happy he is.
Well, I don't mean this in a mean way, but I think his PTSD, he was like, I'm looking for a reason. I think that's the whole purpose. That I think back then he was looking at the Titanic, he was looking at Krakatoa, he was looking for reason and meaning. And when he sees that one moment where everybody lives, my God, you took a weight off his shoulders. He finally says, maybe this is the reason. And this is actually, I don't know if you guys remember Dark Eyes. Where the doctor actually, for the first time, it's still kind of hazy, but he kind of wants to commit suicide. He actually takes his TARDIS and runs it to the end of everything, to the end of existence, because he wants to know at that moment, was this all worth it? The 8th Doctor is going like, I don't know if this is worth it anymore, because he had just suffered a major loss. So spoiler alerts, he lost a family member, which I won't mention in the previous episode, and he lost a bunch of companions, and he gave up on his granddaughter. He walked away from Susan. It was probably the most hardest time of his life. So he starts off the new story basically going to the end of the universe and saying, was this all worth it? And I still think even in the 9th Doctor, he was still asking that question. And those little moments, those nice little cherished moments, are the things that kind of reminds him of why he's got that moniker, why he is the Doctor. But that's just me.
I almost think with 9, it's like he keeps slipping into War Doctor-ish, or his season, his single season kind of arc. He keeps slipping into that no nonsense thing where the dinner table scene with him and the Slovene, Margaret Blaine, with the only a killer would know that, right. Your killer is kind, that kind of thing, where he gets really dark and heavy real freaking quick. But he also saves her at the end. He also turns in her egg, and he's just in this happy, just almost fourth Doctor like, when he's watching it happen, and he's just in awe of what's going on with the power of the TARDIS, and he's just that kind of awe childlike, where he kind of slips out of that. Right. So I almost think that he is still coming out like that PTSD part, which clearly he did have. Even Russell T Davies said that was what his character kind of was when he came back, and that Rose and Jack, and even to a point Mickey, kind of helped pop him back up into having those peaks of 4th Doctor-ish, or even 5th Doctor, the fun kind of thing, where he would just, when he was effervescent, he was just happy. I mean, they put a banana in Jack's hands instead of his sonic blaster, not because I need to make sure that he doesn't kill anything, because it was slapstick. Also, because he didn't want anything.
But I think that was just him reaching out, getting a handle on the moment, trying to establish what he was as a Doctor. He just lost his entire planet. So it's still this mythology of like, what am I doing this for? Why do I keep going? But when he still gets those little reminders, when he still gets those little victories, he continues to hang on, and he still hangs on to becoming the same Doctor that he was beforehand. He slips out the banana, or the curly hair Doctor that asks, do you want a jelly baby? I think he loves those moments because it does remind him, this is what I'm doing, and that what was it? Never cruel or cowardly, never give up, never give in. He reminded that, yes, this is the reason why it was worth it. This moment right here is why I do this.
I think if you go back and go and just rewatch them just for the hell of it. It's amazing how, I know for me, when I went back and just like, I'm just going to go ahead and just watch 9, go back to the beginning and start watching 9 again. I almost forgot how much he is smiling and how much he's laughing and how jokey he is. Yeah. Because it balances all of those other really serious kind of moments.
Exactly. Even Candace Rachette says going to have to go back and watch 9 from 9 on. Why not? It's a treat. It is an absolute treat there.
Not to mention, it was 9 who brought us the infamous phrase, everything dies and everything has its time.
But you know who parroted that? It was Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah.
Another influence from the Doctor. So,
School.
There is one major new Who character that never had a chance to, unless it was in Big Finish and I missed it, interact with 9 would be River.
Yes.
Oh God.
Everybody
Christopher. Yes.
How did we not bring up?
Oh my God!
We only had an
edit.
Wait for a whole hour and just put a second bonus episode out.
Start the clock again because we're about to go. Get more commercials ready.
That's right. It's okay.
Oh God, no! I could just hear I can hear Kingston now saying, "I really liked you because you were so into leather."
Oh, nice. True. Yeah, the other one that I want
on see or on here. Thanks a bunch.
The other person I would like to hear, because you'll never get. Actually, I would love to see, but we will probably never happen. Would be Iris Wildtime.
Yes.
Mm.
Now, she's a Big Finish exclusive, basically. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to see Katie come in and do it for the TV show, but
she would keep 9 in check. She would definitely keep 9 in check.
Yeah,
just that sparring alone would
put her and River together with them or something.
Oh, that would be fun.
What about
9 Torchwood?
I think he would despise Torchwood.
I think so too, but I think it would be hilarious if he found out it was Jack. You know, the guy. Because think about it. I mean, 10 always had to keep dealing with the fact that he left him, and he always kind of pushed off the reason why. I left you because I was wrong. Blah blah blah. It's gonna be more fresher for him.
Yeah.
Or also just during his arc, actually, it would be before he even left Jack. So if he saw him with him and not leaving Jack, and as far as he knew, Jack wasn't immortal, he's not going to know why Jack is immortal. Ooh, this is interesting.
So many ways.
Yeah, but how do you do that without contradicting the continuity? Because Ken had never heard of Torchwood when he comes back to Jack, because Jack has to sit him down in Sound of Drums, and him and Ten have that whole conversation about Torchwood running it. Really, there's how you get around that contradiction in the continuity is interesting. But let's be fair, that's half a Big Finish's job. It feels like.
Right. Fill in the blanks. Candace says that in the face of Bo. So there. Graham says, but wouldn't 10 know her and he didn't? But wouldn't 10 then know her and he didn't in the library? Yeah, you actually have to follow the Diary of River song.
But
the Big Finish series
has pictures of all of him up until that point, right? In the Christmas one, it's like she didn't recognize 12 because but she had everyone else in there. So there's got to it's not out of.
I'd love this. If Jack's the stupid ape, that he knows this is his first interaction with Jack Harkness, he's not going to know it because at some point maybe he retcons his brain so he doesn't remember him, so that way the timeline's intact. But yeah, if he went back and dealt with Torchwood and dealt with something about Torchwood, and just that's why he was like, they're just all stupid apes, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, if Jack can meet 6, then he could meet 9 pre-Empty Child, I suppose.
Yeah, but they just kind of when it came to 6. For those of you, what was it? The Lives of Captain Jack.
The Lives of Captain Jack, Volume 2.
Volume 2. There was an episode where Captain Jack meets 6, and it comes into question because they actually do meet, and they're spoilers for anybody who's listening. They finally do meet, and they kind of just, I don't want to say blow it off, but they just kind of write it off to the point where what was it? And correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew. 6 goes, for as long as I've lived, do you think I'm going to remember everything that I'm paraphrasing what he said.
There's an in-story reason for it, which is that when they first meet, and I'm fixing to drop major spoilers, I suspect. Apologies in advance, but go listen to it because it's a brilliant piece of work. Something has happened to Six, and Six is in the middle, is regenerating, and he stops regenerating and heals and whatnot, and Jack has to go and play him. And by the end of it, Six has figured it out. So there's this brilliant sequence at the end where Colin Baker gets to turnabout becomes fair play. Mm-hmm. And so the Doctor gets to impersonate Jack in the way that Jack has been impersonating the Doctor.
I remember that.
Which is just, if you buy that set for no other reason, you just have to listen to that 5 or 10 minutes.
They're playing each other at the very end. So the Six is playing Captain Jack, or his stereotype of Captain Jack, while Captain Jack is playing the stereotype of Six, which is just over the top. In fact, Captain Jack puts on the costume, which you see in the previews, which is also John Barrowman. But it just to hear the Sixth Doctor try to play off a spoof of Captain Jack is just hysterical. The Doctor's interpretation of what he thinks Captain Jack is, and plays it off to the hilt. Those two are just gold mine when they come and play with each other on that one. But it was like the ending was just like, I don't remember everything. I've been alive so long. There it is.
There it is.
It won't get clean, but there you go. You can see that Technicolor dream coat. You know what that's a Barrowman face, kind of.
Actually, big finish. If you look on the YouTube and put, I think John Barrowman, Sixth Doctor, they actually did an intro using John Barrowman in the Sixth Doctor outfit, so they gave it the Sixth Doctor intro with Jack's face in it. So they're Candace. What do you got there? Jack is in Torchwood, so he could catch the Doctor when he stops in to charge the TARDIS.
Yeah, that's true.
Possibly.
That would be fun, because it could be during that section where Jack is waiting to see the Doctor again. Kind of like when we finally see him when he's running toward the TARDIS with the hand strapped to his back. But it could be one before that. And then he's thinking, okay, here's the Doctor. And then it's this Doctor and him just saying, Bob, having diarrhea of the mouth. And then realizing, wait, you don't recognize me, do you? And Nine going, no, who are you? What are you, crazy man? And then just, there you go.
Yeah.
But I think, Brian, if we go back, I think Charlie Pollard was the catalyst to all this, because they had her in the Eighth Doctor series. There we go. They had her in the Eighth. Oh, you're playing the YouTube. Yeah, there it is.
Not working very well because I got a lot of glare on my screen.
No, that's okay. Let me broad you up, but there you go.
Better. You can see it. Look at that.
That's so cool. And it's got the Captain Jack theme too, which is just kind of a twist on the Doctor Who theme there. But that is cool. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I will watch that more when I'm not on the air.
But getting back to that, was it?
That also will become mute.
Charlie Pollard started with the Eighth Doctor and then ended up with the Sixth Doctor, which she thought was the Eighth Doctor when his TARDIS rematerializes to save her. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing. She's abandoned on this planet. She thinks the Eighth Doctor's dead, and all of a sudden the TARDIS appears, and then she just walks into the door and goes, I knew you were going to come back for me. It's the Sixth Doctor, who she's not supposed to have met yet because it's 2 regenerations prior. So she's trying so hard throughout the series not to reveal who she is, that she's been traveling with his future self during her time with the Sixth Doctor. And they had that weird thing that went on. I hadn't gone as far as that, but they had a weird ending how they explained the memory wipe in the TARDIS or some weird thing like that. But wow. Well, if anybody else wants to bring in the chats, we're going to be wrapping up very shortly there. But this has been fun. I mean, there's so many ways we can take the Ninth Doctor and explore his PTSD, explore the history, explore the times that he was trying to get himself back up and running, and what made him, put on the moniker again and say, hey, I'm the Doctor again, even though he forgot when his 10th and 11th regeneration says, you've been the Doctor the whole time. You were at the moment where nobody could get it right. And then forget about it and then have to pick up the pieces there at the moment where he has forgotten everything about Day of the Doctor and move on without his people. And then the moment that he sees the Dalek again, I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah. That's probably the one thing Big Finish won't do is a Dalek story, I suspect, because of the way the TV series does things. What I'm hoping they'll do is they'll do a Cyberman story, because it's the other thing we didn't get with 9 was we didn't have a proper Cyberman story with him outside of that cameo at the beginning of Dalek.
No. I do wonder how many of the things that would have been for Tennant's first season that was probably on the storyboards and everything, or at least on the idea for him for 9 should have been like, okay, we got Doctor Who off the ground. We're going to have another season with him. What stories do we have? And I wonder which one of those could have been, already written for 9. And they figured, okay, well, we're having a different Doctor. Here we go.
Right.
I would have loved to see the 9th Doctor with Wilfred, even. Maybe even interacting with him.
Oh.
Maybe that can kind of get it back in check. Because even the 10th Doctor always said that, I would have proud to have you as my father, as my father. Having that father figure when you're 9 and you're not sure who you are, and having that kind of support.
I would think Wilf would kind of
they haven't met each other yet, and
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They haven't met each other yet, so they could. Yeah, they've not met each other yet, so the Doctor's not necessarily going to recognize him when he's Tennant, and Wilfred's not going to recognize him when he's Tennant either. So that one could work, and we know Bernard Cribbins has done at least one audio with them so far, so that could be fun.
I would say there would be a great storyline if he knew that was the 9th Doctor, that was the Doctor beforehand, and he's kind of guiding him as a son.
Yeah, because
he's finally getting that father-son relationship that he says it would be great if you were my dad. Well, at this moment he is, because he's making him go in the right direction that he could. So he's finally getting that wish.
Wilf being that smart individual, where I could see it not having to work as a retcon or anything. He would just probably be quiet. And I'm like, oh look, I'm shaking an alien's hand. Oh, that's amazing. Look, I'm a doddering old fool. But he was much smarter up top than you would think. So that would be amazing.
Yeah. Nick. Susan will buy every story that we got out there.
On to Archive of Our Own. We are going to be writing our fan fiction.
Exactly.
Yes.
Our screen treatments.
I have to email Nick. While you've been thinking about it, we've had these ideas we've been talking about for the last hour and a half. So if you want to take them, we're cheap. So,
we only give him that one great idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't talk about him. No. Just all Melanie's idea. Scribbled it down on some paper.
She's got to throw that. It's for a coaster. What are you talking about?
Well, guys, we are going to be wrapping up very shortly. Again, if you anybody has any last-minute chats, we got a minute or two left. I want to thank everybody for joining us. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS Facebook page. I just want to let you know, incredible amount of people joining us out there. Susan says, "Here's our wish list for Nick." Yeah, we'll write something together. I'm sure we're going to have it once we start doing reviews of 9, and when that goes off the ground, we're going to be having a great time.
My God.
After today, I might just start calling him Saint Nick.
Oh yeah, he needs to have a Christmas episode, I guess. Aside from Jody, he's the only one that has a Christmas special. So yeah, it would be Saint Nick. He would have a Christmas episode in Big Finish. Oh my God.
Christmas episode now.
A Christmas episode. Oh, that's got to be Diary of River Song. That's got to be one where because he would be this grumpy old, he'd be this grumpy, being all serious, and here comes River Song coming in and just hammering at him, just constantly going like, "You stop being a jerk." I know you could be mean, but by God, calm it down.
That's why, honestly, when River, the Husbands of River Song, that one finally made me go, "Yeah, I finally have a 13 that or a 12 that I really, 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 really like." And then it was after that we had the, in my opinion, a better season.
Well, it just scared me because I just thought of a short trip. Because remember, I think it was at the end of the Doctor Dances where Rose comes walking in, goes, "There you are, beaming away like Father Christmas." He goes, "Who says I'm not small red bicycle when you were 12?" Or something like that.
Yeah, the Paul Abbott script that never got made because Paul Abbott had an entire episode scripted. It should have been went out in the place of Boomtown, and Paul Abbott, was just as big in British television as Russell T Davies was at the time. Just apparently he delivered a couple of drafts and just couldn't get back to it. And Davies, it wasn't in a presentable state where they felt like they could broadcast it. And it would have, as I recall from the few details we have, it would have revealed that the Doctor had gone back and had essentially, I don't want to say groomed because I don't have a better word for it, that Rose had essentially been made into the perfect companion for him as a result of that, which may have been why they didn't go with it. I don't know, but
that's kind of creepy.
Eccleston and Riversong having an episode together, but not know who each other are because Eccleston wasn't going by the Doctor at that time. That's a possibility.
That's an idea.
Because again, we still don't know when he picked up that name again. We're going to wrap up, folks. HarleyCon this Saturday, the 15th. We're going to be doing a panel live at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. There is the events page. If you're not able to paste and copy this, just go to HarleyCon 2020 on the Facebook page. We'll be doing, I think she's doing live Facebook Live. I believe she's doing it that way, or is she doing or another way? Well, we'll just go to the page. You'll
find out everything you want to know, everything, including panels and the vendor room and everything else that you want to have a con, and you're going to do it from your comfort of your own couch.
That's right, folks. And just be careful out there, be safe, and always become part of the legend. Thank you so much. Thank you, Matthew, Brian, Melanie, and Dave, everybody. And thank you all for joining us. We're out of here. And Tuesday. Oh, yeah. Just to throw this in there. Tuesday, we're going to have this lovely young lady, Melinda M. Snodgrass. She is writer for Star Trek The Next Generation and also Sequest and a couple of other sci-fi stuff as well. But that's not the reason we're bringing her on. She's also a fellow Whovian. She's going to be talking to you about that. And for those of you who know horses, she's going to be talking about that too. Equestrian. Thanks all for coming in with us. Have a great day. Be safe. Thank you for joining us. Become part of the legend. Oh, no, Melanie. No, Melanie, no.